Hey everybody, it is time for lesson 1B for Let's Learn to Art Journal, and that is going to be starting with the journaling. I'm making a journal page where your focus is not the art. Sorry, I'm trying to get my stool scooted up where I'm happy, and I hope I didn't move my camera. I don't think I did. And this is starting from the words, from an emotion, a thought, a problem. For me today, I am sick. I've been sick most of this week, and what day is it? It's Saturday. So by Thursday morning, I was just feeling like I've been run over by a Mack truck. So I am not feeling good. I don't feel creative. I don't feel energetic. I feel really rough. So that's kind of where this page is gonna start. But it can be anything. I have an entire journal that I don't share, I won't share, that was centered around dealing with the loss of my dad. I've never shown it to anyone, and I won't. That's probably the most personal thing I've ever created. And it's not even something I want to go back and look at, because there's just so much emotion in those pages that I can't open it and not still feel them. So, whatever is on your heart and mind, that's what you put here, all right? So you've got something bothering you, you've got something worrying you, you've got something weighing you down. Get your black Sharpie. You want it to be a Sharpie or other permanent pen, because you don't want it to do anything hinky when we start adding to it. And you just start putting it all on paper. And one thing I'll tell you, and I'm going to kink my page because I write from an angle, is don't write legibly, all right? You don't pick up your pen if you want to. Make big, wide, loopy marks. You want to get this on paper, but you don't necessarily want to preserve it, okay? If I'm writing something that I want to preserve, where is it? I've got a scrap paper in here, scrap page in here somewhere. Here we go. Then I would write very clear and neat. All right, because I want to preserve that. I want that to be legible. I want to come back to this in 6 months and know what it says. All right, that is not what I want here. We are obliterating these negative emotions and problems, and so you want to write just as illegibly as possible. So I'm not even picking up my pen. I'm going over the same areas. Oh, I think I'm running out of page. Okay, and I ran out of room, so I just ran it up the page. All right, you can't read that. If you can read that, you're doing better than me. I didn't pick up my pen between words, so there's extra loops and marks in there. I wrote very elongated. I squished my lines up so that they go over each other, and that's what you want, all right? This is not something I want to preserve. This is not something I want to see again. This is something that I want to put down here and get rid of, okay? So, that being said, let's grab some paint. What I had handy today was my Dina Wakley paints. Would I normally grab my Dina Wakley paints for something like this? No, I would normally grab my craft paints. But again, I'm sick, and these are right beside me, so that's what we're going to use. You can use whatever you want. I do love these paints because of the, well, they're great colors, but I love this applicator tip, because when I'm doing something like this, I can just do that and wipe it out. All right, my hand's going to be a little bit in the way, This is something I picked up from Kate Crane that I love. Kate Crane, if you don't know, is a fabulous British art journalist, and she teaches classes. She has some of her own products, but mainly she teaches classes, and she is fabulous. One of the things that she teaches is when you are going to do something crazy like this, the way you tone it down a little bit is you only paint in two directions: vertical, horizontal. No swipey swipies, no circles, vertical, horizontal. It keeps a little bit of control to an otherwise uncontrolled page, and I love that. So that's what we're doing here. All right, and now at this point you have to make a decision, and that decision is, do you want to paint wet on wet or wet on dry? Okay, so I have very much got wet on here. Do I want to dry this before I add the next color or not? And you know what? I'm not going to. But because I'm not going to, I'm going to make white my next color. It will give me some variations to this pink, and so some of these places where there's a lot of pink, I'm going to put some white. Also, I still have pink in my brush, so it's going to pull some of that pink out of my brush still. But same thing, crossways. I probably should have grabbed one of my short brushes because I'm hitting the camera thing every so often. Alright, so I'm just kind of spread this around a little bit. And yeah, I'm going to have to swap to a shorter brush. I'm hitting the arm of the camera tripod. Alright, let me grab a shorter brush. And there should be one in here. Here's one. Alright, so now let's go to a totally different color. I am going to, just in case you were wondering, that was a magenta, and now I'm going to sky. But the colors don't really matter. Pick colors that make you happy, that you love. That is the main thing here. And what I'm going to do at this point is these big white splotches, I'm just going to hit them. Alright, because I changed brushes for the length, I'm not got the white that was in the other brush to kind of blend this any. But if you don't, you will. If you didn't swap brushes, you will. And I like that. So you're not keeping pure colors here, and that is totally and completely fine. Alright, because remember, we're starting from the words. Okay. Let's get some brightness on here. So let's put some lemon. Now in places, this lemon is going to turn green, right? Or orange, because the pink and the blue are still wet. That is totally fine. If you don't want that to happen, clean your brush, dry your page. And I'm still hitting that arm. Oh well, it'll be fine. Alright. So I'm trying to kind of mix and flow here, and I'm going to add some more white because I've got a lot of paint still on here, and I'm also getting kind of dark, and I don't want to get too dark yet. So some of these places that are looking very yellow, I'm just going to add some white, and you know what, I'm going to get some extra white on my brush. And this is very relaxing, therapeutic. This is a good thing to do on days when you don't really know what you want to do, or like I am today, I don't feel good, so I'm not feeling very creative. But I wanted to get this done because y'all been waiting long enough, really. Come on. And so this was a good way to do this. And this was a good one to do. All right. I'm going to come in with another color now, lime. And I've got a lot of paint going on here, and it's getting really thick. And that is totally okay. Okay, so I've got lime on here now. And at some point, you're going to look at this and you're going to think, I like it. And when you do, that's when you stop, all right? If it's to the point where mine is right now, where you're like, this is a big old hairy mess, keep going. Just push through it. Every art journal is going to have a moment where it is just a big old hairy mess. Now, I'm also going to tell you, don't fall in love with this because it's not going to survive the day. Okay, so now I want the pink and magenta, the sky and magenta have really gotten pushed to the back. So I'm going to bring them back up to the front because I don't want to lose them. And they're only peeking through in spots at this point. So I'm going to come back to the sky. And you can see how wet this page is by how much the paint is just moving and blending, and I love that. And again, this is good for a day when you're not feeling extremely creative. And usually if you're doing a journaling driven page, you probably aren't feeling very creative, because usually it means you're in a little bit of a negative place. And I don't want to sound all woo-woo, because I'm not all woo-woo. But you know, you can't paint a happy page if you're depressed. You can't, not really. I mean, you might could fake one, but it's never going to feel real to you, because when you look at it, you're going to remember how bad you felt that day. It's not going to be legitimate to you. Okay, so I am liking that. But again, don't do something you're going to fall in love with, because it's not going to survive. So I am going to pause the camera. I'm going to clean out my two brushes, and then I am going to dry this page, and we'll be back when it's dry, because the next stage you do need it to be dry. Okay, so I'm back, and obviously, because I got stuff laying on it, my page is dry. All right, and if you look at it, you can see there are colors in here we didn't put. There is totally orange here. We never put orange in. There's variations in the blues and the pinks, because we did this wet. Now, if you don't want that, let me get the glare off of it a little bit. If you don't want that, then just dry between layers. I wanted that. I wanted to get all these, what I like to call bonus colors. All right. And you can still see the writing through it, but it's even less legible now than it was before. It was pretty illegible to start with. So that's what you want. We're getting rid of all of that. All right, so I've got here a magazine, Diane Reevely mask, and a Tim Holtz die cut. Why? Well, for the next step, we're going to take this page that has so far just been about emotion and slapping paint on, and we are going to make it an art journal page, which means we've got to make something out of it. The easiest way to do that is to use either a mask or draw on it. Now, I'm always going to give you as many options as I can because I know a lot of people in here are just starting out. So if you don't feel comfortable drawing, but you have a die cut you like, you have a mask that you want to use, or just grab a magazine and say, okay, say what you really like the outline of her. Now, remember, it's only the outline of her. If you like the outline of her, here, there's a purse over here. If you like the outline of a purse, you can cut out any image and make it into a mask, okay? If you were doing that, and let me get rid of that. And just put that mask away. But if you were doing the mask technique, whether it's with a bought or homemade mask or a die cut, you just set it down, take the color of paint that you want everything else to be, and you paint, oh, I have this long brush, and you paint basically like this, all right, so that you start on the mask and come off of it. If you go just completely across like this, then you're going to be pushing paint under your edges, okay? So if you do not feel comfortable drawing anything, and we're going to draw something extremely simple, everyone should be able to draw it, but if you are uncomfortable with the word draw, you can totally do this technique instead, all right? But I hope that you will grab your black Sharpie again and go with me. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to draw a flower, okay? And this is a stylized flower. So I'm going to start by drawing a half circle. All right, you with me? And off that half circle, we're going to draw a stem. All right, and then off that, we're going to draw a petal and a petal and a petal and a petal. Okay, now, if you were nervous about drawing, you cannot tell me that is nervous about drawing, okay? This is very much a stylized flower. Okay, and if you want your flower to be just a hair fuller, then you can draw a petal and a petal, all right? Very much a flower, but it's very much a stylized flower. And you know what? I like leaves, so let's draw a single leaf coming up from the bottom. All right, and again, even if you do not consider you can draw this. Everyone can draw this, okay? If you have to, you can pause, rewind, and do it on slow motion or something. But that is extremely simple, stylized flower, okay? Now you have a choice to make. Do you want the flower to be one color and the background to be craziness? Or do you want the flower to be craziness and the background one color? There is no wrong answer here. It is whatever you want to do, all right? So I personally like the flower being the craziness, all right? But maybe not all of it. I may tone some of it down a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to grab, and I don't want, you can go black, all right? Black is pretty much your go-to color for when you do this. But because it's your go-to color when you do this, I don't want to. So I'm going to get Night. It is actually an extremely dark blue. All right. And because I am going with Night, I'm going to get just a piece of scrap paper to become my palette. Oh, I'm going to tell you, I like to use scrap paper, product tags, things like this for my palette. Why? This is a freebie thrown in here. Because look how gorgeous this is when it starts getting all these layers built up on it. And then you can actually turn this into a tag for something to go in a journal, to send in Happy Mail, whatever. It's gorgeous. You can't intentionally do this, but using this as, in fact, I'm going to use this one and add a little up here. Using this as a palette over and over and over again, I mean, listen to it. It's crunchy with paint. I love that. Okay. So, I'm going to take my knight and I'm going to put it on my makeshift, let me get my page center back up, makeshift palette, which you're not going to be able to see on the side, but that's okay. And I just put a little dollop right there. I don't know if you can see it on dark on dark. All right, and then like I said, choose. Do you want to paint everything that is inside or outside of your drawing? And I want to paint everything that is outside my drawing. All right. And this is going to take me a little while because I do have to be a little careful of my edges. If you get somewhere you don't want to be, then just adapt. You know, just adapt where your line is. It's not a big deal. But I do go a little careful here, and yeah. So this is going to be a little time consuming, and I don't think that I want to have y'all sitting and watching me paint in all these areas because it's a little bit boring. But you can kind of, I mean, you can figure this out. And if you've got a paint pen with the color that you want in it, you could totally do that as well and paint it that way. If you do get it somewhere you don't want, like I got that little pokey up right there, this is acrylic paint. It is wet. A baby wipe will, or your finger, will move it. All right, so I am going to stop recording as soon as yeah, this is extremely mellowing to me, but I'm going to stop recording. And am I even on camera down here? I am. And I'm going to paint everything that is not my flower with this knight, okay? So if it's not my flower that I just drew, it is going to become knight. And I want you to do the same thing. Unless you decided what you want to do is make your flower knight, in which case you would paint everything you drew in. And you don't have to do it one color. If you want to make your stem dark green, your leaf dark green, your petals, you know, I don't know, pink, or, well, you got pink, orange, you don't have cheddar in there, or if you want to make them blackberry, that'd be really cute. Anyway, if you want to do that, you totally can. You don't have to, if you're doing inside your flower, you do not have to do one color inside your flower, all right? And I don't want you to feel like you have to just do what I do. That's not what art journaling is. Art journaling is very much about you doing what you want and experimenting and playing. So I'm going to give you tips, I'm going to give you directions, but the number one rule is always going to be, if you think of something you would rather do it your way, all right? Okay, so like I said, I'm going to hit pause, and I will come back when this is all painted in and dried for the next step. Alright, so I'm back. It is all painted in and dry, and if you're wondering how I'm doing this, I've got a heat gun and I just dry the paint with a heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, you can always use a hairdryer. Alright, and I'm going to go back with my Sharpie because I didn't get quite up to my line some places, so I'm just going to strengthen these lines a little bit so that my flower's got crisp edges. Is this cheating? Yes. Is it okay? Absolutely. Remember, this is yours. There is no wrong here. And some of these, the edges ended up really crisp and don't really need this, but some of them they didn't. And of course that one I just messed up. That's okay. I'm doing this at a weird angle because of the camera, and yeah, so yours will be much better than mine will. Alright, so there's that one, and this one, and this one, And and you'll notice I turn my page constantly. I highly recommend that if you need to turn your page to access something, turn it. Don't feel like you can't. I know when I first started doing art, I thought, I shouldn't have to do that. I should be good enough that I can do it straight on always. That's ridiculous. I'll just go and tell you, that's totally and completely ridiculous. It doesn't matter how you do it, it matters that you do it. Alright, so there we go. I've strengthened my black lines, crisped everybody up again, and I think it looks great. Alright, so now then you've got a couple of decisions to make. One, do you like it? If you like it, then you're through with your flower and you can move on to the next stage. If you don't like it, play with it until you do. So I actually do like mine. I really, really do. But I want to play with it anyway because I'm just that kind of person. So I've got this gilt. It's basically a gold metallic. And I'm just going to take it straight from the bottle and hopefully. Yeah, alright, it didn't work quite as well as I thought it would because it's putting too much down. So, the joy of acrylic paint. I'm just gonna wipe it off. Alright, let me find something else then. I want to put little, I know. Where's my little, here, I have my Diana Wakely tool here. So, I'm just going to put some gold paint over on my makeshift palette. And I do have real palettes, y'all. So don't everybody feel sorry for me and send me palettes. I have them. It seems a shame to me. And I have palette paper. But I love how this ends up when I'm done. And I like the fact that I am inadvertently creating something while I am making something else. That's much better. So I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to put little gold dots. That one was a little small. Just because it's a little fun. And because I'm not through playing. And if you are not playing when you are creating your art, you're not doing it right. Even when you are doing something like this, where you're starting from a very dark place, with a problem, an issue, a worry, a fear, whatever you've put underneath here, you need to be having fun by this point because you are replacing those negative emotions with these very, very positive ones. Alright? And I am just having fun. So if you didn't like yours, do whatever you need to do to make you like it. If you did like it, that doesn't mean that you can't just keep playing with it. Now there is always a point where you need to stop, okay? And I usually know that point about 3 steps past it. That, oh yeah, I should have stopped back there. That was when it was perfect. That's totally fine too. But when you get to the point where you think, I should stop. Alright, so I am actually really liking these gold dots. So I'm going to finish putting these on here. And if there's something that you want to add to yours, feel free. I will also tell you, if you're doing something like this, symmetry is your way to go. So like I put it here on this one, so I put it there on that one. I'm putting it here on this one, so I'm putting it there on that one. If you want a balanced looking piece, that's how you're going to do it. Or you can put it in the same place on each one, in the same place respectively. So like say I wanted to put it here on this one, alright? So then I would put it here on this one, here on this one, here on this one, here on this one, and here on this one, because it's the same place on the leaf, even though it's not the same place on the flower. or say I want to put it where the light would hit. So that's either the light or the shadow. So if I wanted to make it where it was the light, well, I'd put it on here, I'd put it 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 here. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So as long as you are consistent with whatever you decide to do, you're fine. And what I decided was that what I did to each layer, I would repeat of the next layer, and that's fine. Even though it's not necessarily what was on the layer before. Okay. And you could outline the whole thing, you could do whatever. Again, number one rule is it's yours. You do what you want and what you like and what makes you happy. All right, I'm going to put my gold vein here. All right, so my gold vein. And then I'm just gonna keep going like so. Because I want my veins in my leaf. There. I don't even know if you can see that, but now you can. All right. And I think I'm gonna go dots down the side of here. And if you don't have this tool, you could totally use the back end of your paintbrush, just of a small paintbrush. But I have these, so I wanted to use them. Okay, so I think that's all I'm gonna do to my flower itself. I think I like it. I think it's pretty cute. And it may be the wrong thing to do, but I am not gonna worry about drawing those dots. Oh yeah, no, that's gonna be the wrong thing to do. I'm totally gonna hit them. Let me draw those dots and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back and it is all dry, and now I want to get a white paint pen. I'm just going to grab a white paint pen, and I just use the Sharpie ones. They come in oil or acrylic. I tend to like the acrylic ones better. The oil ones actually sometimes work better. And you do have to like shake them. Alright, but let me make sure this one actually still has some in it, because I tend to use these until there's nothing left. Alright, I think we're good. Alright, so at this point, you know, I'm going to do a little doodling here, because I just want to put some interest in these corners. Just kind of like that. Is this one? Yeah, this one's oil-based. I assumed because it was small, it was water-based, because I generally buy the small ones in water-based, but this one is oil-based. How did I tell that it was oil-based? Let me just go on and show you, because of the fact that you can see where the paint was thin by the oil still. So yeah, as soon as I started writing with it, I knew that that was not going on like acrylic. That was going on like oil. So let's swap to this one, which I think is water-based. It doesn't say, but I think it is. We'll know in just a second. also sounds way emptier than the other one did, doesn't it? Okay, well, let's find out. Now, this one just isn't flowing. I think it's actually pretty much empty is my problem. Because you hear it just clicking, you don't hear any slosh. Oh wait, there, maybe it's got some in it. There we go. But I don't think it has a lot in it, so I'm hoping it makes it through the end of these. Alright, so I just want to put some decorative corners down here. Okay. And I do like to do this kind of thing with a paint pen. Paint pens, I have like a love-hate relationship with paint pens. Let me make sure you can actually see this time. Because when they work well, they work well. It's kind of like a computer, you know, when it's working well, you're in love with it. But they don't always. Sometimes they don't want to flow, they run out too easy, they this, they that, they the other. Yeah, so. And you do need to be a little slow with them so that your paint keeps flowing. Alright, so there, I've given myself a little border around each corner. And I think I'm also just going to do some outlining, messy outlining around my flower. So what I want to do for messy outlining is I do it quick, so I'm not really worried about the paint not stopping, and do it more than once, and don't worry about the lines being perfect. In fact, if you're ever going to outline something, you should outline it multiple times like this, so that if your lines aren't perfect, it looks intentional. Great little cheat there that I cannot remember right this second who I got that from. It was probably Kate, but I can't quite remember. Alright. My pen's actually kind of getting it dry, and normally I would go over to my scrap paper and I would get the paint flowing again. But because I'm doing this scratchy outlining, I don't want it perfect anyway, so I'm not going to. I'm just gonna let what comes come. Alright, and I like it. I think it looks great. Okay. Now, words. We started with words, we ended with words, and I have the perfect place right here for some words. In fact, I could start here and come down. Now, what you want to do at this point is you want to think back to the negative you wrote on the bottom, all right? And you want to write the opposite of that, all right? So I wrote that I was sick, I was tired, I wasn't feeling very creative, I wasn't feeling very artsy, okay? So I want to write the opposite of that in a positive statement. So whatever your negative statement was, I want you to rethink that to flip it around to a positive, all right? So mine is going to be, art is in me even if I don't feel it. And I wrote it all the way down this one side. All right, but now this side is not balanced anymore. You see that? Because I've got all this on this side, so I need something on this side. So I'm going to write create always, and it's very disjointed. In fact, you're probably not even going to be able to see it right off the bat, and that is fine. All right, and then I'm going to put some little doodaddies in here to just kind of fill the space a little more. And you know what? I'll put a couple of those little doodaddies over here just to kind of balance it out. And oops, and one up here at the top. All right, and there is my page. And it started very much from words, not from the art. The art was very much secondary. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you created your own page. And if you've got something that's bothering you, I hope this helped. Alright, I will see you next time for lesson 1B, which will be starting with the art. Bye.